There's been extensive controversy not just over the construction of Roe, but of the behaviour of police and protesters at the site. West TV have uncovered unseen footage from the Coolabah construction, which raises concerns about the continued presence of asbestos in the area and for the health and safety of police, protesters and workers alike. What is your involvement and interest in the Roe issue?
Well, my main focus has always been, since 1986, to document what actually goes on in our local community, and that is Beeliar Lake itself. So I've got a lot of passion for the local fauna and local flora of the area, and I've also involved my grandchildren in taking photos and have an understanding that nature generally has solutions to issues. Because of the local understanding of the Roe 8 and the fact that the Colin Barnett government has chosen to go ahead with this prior to an election just really rocks my soul. I think it's totally criminal that any government should actually proceed on a major issue unless they have an agreement with all major parties. So this to me is just one hell of a stunt.
So why have you called your videos public versus government?
Well, because the whole picture is all about going forward as far as the state's concerned. So there is an alternative plan. Not everybody understands all this. To actually rush this through the way it's been rushed means there's something definitely wrong behind this. Someone's financing this and making commercial decisions based on it's a very poor decision-making situation in my book.
Can you tell us about the asbestos at the construction site and what you saw?
Look, I work in an area where asbestos has always been an issue. I won't say where I work. I can accentuate the fact that the NBN was shut down for quite a long period over the asbestos issue. The government rushed into that job also. Now this particular area around Beeliar Lake, I've been aware of asbestos issues for quite some time. I'm not an asbestos expert. I wouldn't be able to differentiate between bad asbestos and good asbestos, I must admit, right? But filming the World War II army camp, it is blatantly obvious when you look at the video and you look at all the photos that people have taken that have embedded GPS locations in these photos, that this is asbestos. For some government organisation to say there is no asbestos in the area, that's just criminal. We all know that the asbestos has been churned up with the actual mulch, and at some stage you might end up getting free mulch.
And so who was and who wasn't wearing masks at the site, and why do you think that is?
Well, the only people that were pretty much wearing asbestos masks at the time would have been a lot of the protesters, I would have thought. So those people that were in close proximity to the actual machinery that was churning up the dust and the dirt, the police, the security personnel, the contractors, nobody was wearing asbestos masks.
And so I could see from your videos you had a strong opposition to the felling of some of the historically old trees.
I see a huge issue due to the fact that decision making is complex, that this has not been done correctly. This is a willy-nilly project. How is it possible that one government wants to do one thing and then the other government wants to do the other thing, yet the money that's financing this comes out of us people?
The EPA, our Supreme Court, December 2015, when we won the Supreme Court action there, it was clear that the EPA had gone against their own guidelines, which said you cannot use offsets for a wetlands that is significant of this, and this has been recognised by, there was more submissions to the EPA on this project than there has been in any other WA project. So that just shows you the depth of knowledge by a huge amount of professors and people who are experts in this area saying this land is too precious, it's too vital in the ecosystem. So we know that, for one, that they should never have signed off on this because of that. Internationally, if you've got congestion problems, you don't build more highways. That's the 1950s thought. That's when, Los Angeles was building major freeways. They are now taking these freeways down. They know if you need to solve congestion, you put the money into public transport. Imagine what Perth could be like with $2 billion in public transport. It would just be absolutely fantastic. It would set us up for years. People could really enjoy that transport to their work or to wherever they need, leaving the roads free for those businesses that need to use, trucks to get to a business, or their tradies or whatever. Get rid of, a lot of that congestion. If it's about freight, the Kwinana port has had bipartisan support for many years. We've We know that a port similar to what is being planned has already received environmental approval. We know that there's no seagrass in that area. In fact, it's a working port at the moment. 80% of our wheat is actually exported from that area. So we've already got a port there, we're just expanding on it. If it's about selling, privatising the Fremantle port, you don't spend $2 billion for 13 kilometres of a road that doesn't even reach the port just to then go and privatise the port. You know, there's no logic to it.
This video demonstrates the environmental risk mitigation measures that Main Roads will undertake to minimise the impact of Roe 8 on the surrounding environment. The road will now follow the existing partly cleared Western Power corridor through the most sensitive areas between Bibra Drive and Progress Drive. Significant planning has gone into ensuring impacts of Roe 8 on the surrounding environment, including the Beeliar Wetlands, is kept to a minimum. A top-down bridge construction approach will be implemented over part of the Roe Swamp wetland to minimise the clearing footprint and to maintain ecological connectivity. A bioretention basin will capture, filter and treat road and stormwater runoff, and native species will be planted on road embankments and at other locations. Recreation in the area will be enhanced by the creation of separated pathways for pedestrians and cyclists, and underpasses to maintain connectivity, improving safety and access.
Every expert that we've talked to has said this is wrong. So on so many grounds it's wrong. It goes against our community, there's no consultation, the money is wasted. They started bulldozing just a few days before Christmas, so right in front of people's homes. It just absolutely traumatised those people in Coolbellup, and then they found out there was asbestos dust going over their homes. So for those families that have children, they're in a huge amount of pain about this. The people that keep coming to the wetlands and seeing this destruction of 200, 300-year-old trees. We know there's 500-year-old trees, the harm. This is an Aboriginal sacred site here. This heritage site is older than the pyramids, and yet we're allowing it to be bulldozed.
We're talking a lot of police policing something that shouldn't be policed. Passions are running high at times, and the security people in particular and the police have got a job to do. I guess it's just the way it goes.
Well, for the last 2.5 years, working very hard to make sure that people are actually engaged in what's happening.